Sometimes, yes, sometimes the good Lord. I say sometimes the good Lord accepts his own perfection and closes his eyes and goes ahead and takes his own good time. And he makes himself a man. Yes. And sometimes that man gets hold of the idea of what it is possible for him to do. And that man lets that idea guide him as he grows and struggles and stumbles and sorrows until finally he comes into his own God-given shape and achieves his own individual and lonely place in this world. It doesn't happen very often. Oh, no. But when it does, then even the stones will cry out in witness to his vision, and the hills and towers will echo his words and deeds, and his examples will live in the hearts of men forever. The Master doesn't make many like that, because that kind of man is dangerous to the sloppy ways of the world. That kind of man loves truth even more than he loves his life, or his wife, or his children. Because he's been designated and set aside to do the hard tasks that have to be done. That kind of man will do what he sees as justice, even if the earth yawns and swallows him down. And even then, his deeds will persist in the land forever. So you look at him. You look at him a while. And be thankful that the Lord let such a man touch our lives. Even if it were for only a little while.
We are here this evening for serious business. So many occasions, Negroes have been intimidated and humiliated and oppressed because of the sheer fact that they were Negroes. Just the other day, just last Thursday to be exact, one of the finest citizens in Montgomery, not one of the finest Negro citizens, but one of the finest citizens in Montgomery was taken from a bus and carried to jail and arrested because she refused to get up to give her seat to a white person. We are about to wrap the gap right here in Montgomery when the history books are written in the future. Somebody will have to say now there's a race of people. Black people, but are people who have the mind of courage to stand up for their rights. And thereby they injected a new meaning into the veins of history and of civilization. And we are going to do that. God grant that we will do it before the country.
That was the day that we started a bus protest which literally electrified the nation. And that was the day when we decided that we were not going to take segregated buses any longer. And you know, when we planned the bus boycott, we said if we could just get about 50 or 60% of the Negroes of Montgomery not to ride buses, this would be an effective boycott. I think that whole day we found 8 Negroes on the bus. And from that day on, that boycott was more than 99 9/10% effective. I remember that Monday morning when I was subpoenaed to be in court, the chief defendant. Many things ran through my mind. And I started thinking about the people. All day long trying to think of something to say to the people. Finally, I tried to talk. My words were fumbling a bit. Let us fight passionately and unrelentingly for the goal of justice and freedom. Let's be sure that our hands are clean in the struggle. Let us never fight with falsehood and violence and hate and malice, but always fight with love so that when the day comes that the walls of segregation have completely crumbled in Montgomery, we will be able to live with people as their brothers and sisters. Advocate nonviolence with passive resistance and still determined to use the weapon of love. We are still insisting emphatically that violence is self-defeating, that he who lives by the sword will perish by the sword. Now I say to you, my friends, rise up and know that as you struggle for justice, you do not struggle alone, but God struggles with you. Freedom is never given to anybody, for the oppressor has you in domination because he plans to keep you there and he never voluntarily gives it up. That is where the strong resistance comes. We've got to keep on keeping on in order to gain freedom. It is not done voluntarily. It is done through the pressure that comes about from people who are oppressed. Privileged classes never give up their privileges without strong resistance.
They want to throw white children and colored children into the melting pot of integration, out of which will come a conglomerated, mulatto, mongrel class of people. All races will be destroyed in such a movement. I, for one, under God, will die before I'll yield 1 inch to that kind of a movement.
I want young men and young women who are not alive today, but who will come into this world with new privileges and new opportunities. I want them to know and see that these new privileges and opportunities did not come without somebody suffering and sacrificing for them.
I hereby defy a ruling handed down by the United States Supreme Court ordering desegregation of public carriers. Alabama state law requiring segregation of races on buses still stands. As long as I am president of the Alabama Public Service Commission, I am going to see that our segregation laws are upheld.
I have this day issued orders to the chief of police and the police department to continue to make arrests in all violations with reference to the segregation laws. And as long as I am police commissioner of the city of Montgomery, I intend to follow this course.
This morning, the long-awaited mandate from the United States Supreme Court concerning bus segregation came to Montgomery. This mandate expresses in terms that are crystal clear that segregation in public transportation is both legally and sociologically invalid. In the light of this mandate, and the unanimous vote rendered by the Montgomery Improvement Association about a month ago, the year-old protest against city buses is officially called off, and the Negro citizens of Montgomery are urged to return to the buses tomorrow morning on a non-segregated basis.
So don't go out thinking that all of the forces in the leadership of the South will eventually work out this thing for Negroes. It's going to work out. It's going to roll in on the wheels of inevitability. If we wait for it to work itself out, it will never be worked out. Freedom only comes through persistent revolt, through persistent agitation, through persistently rising up against the system of evil. Buses are integrated in Montgomery, but that is just the beginning. Don't sit down and do nothing, because if you stop now, we will be in the dungeons of segregation and discrimination for another 100 years. And our children and our children's children will suffer all of the bondage that we have lived under for years.
It will be a long time before we forget the freedom rides. We just decided to take a ride for freedom. As a result of this, we were able to end segregation in interstate travel.
What these people are doing is not just traveling through Alabama in interstate commerce or interstate travel. They're buying tickets from town to town and getting off in each town and seeking through mixed groups, Negro men and white women, to force themselves into situations which tend to inflame the local people and incense them by going into waiting rooms, restaurants, cafes, lunch counters, which are traditionally and in many cases required by city ordinance to be segregated. Now, the best thing for King to do is to get out of Alabama as quickly as he can, because he's a menace to the peace of this city.
Now I'm tired of segregation, and now I want my equal rights. Well, respect and education, well, not total integration. That's why I'm fighting for my rights. I'm fighting for my rights. Yes, I'm fighting for my rights. Yes, I'm fighting for my rights. Now myself in a hat, the windows, so the air it couldn't come through, and I felt so hot and stuffy that I didn't know what to do. So I was fighting for my rights. 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 That's why I'm fighting for my rights. Oh, I'm fighting for my rights. Yes, I'm fighting for my rights. Yes, I'm fighting.
Now, we've had an ugly mob outside. They have injured some of the federal marshals. They burned some automobiles. But we are not giving in for what we are standing for. And maybe it takes something like this for the federal government to see that Alabama is not going to place any limit upon itself. It must be imposed from without. when I say don't be afraid, you know what I really mean. Don't even be afraid to die. But I submit to you tonight, no man is free if he fears death. But the minute you conquer the fear of death at that moment, you are free. And you must say somehow, I don't have much money. I don't have much education. I may not be able to read and write, but I have the capacity to die. An unhappy truth that racism is a way of life for the vast majority of white Americans. And I can see nothing more urgent than for America to work passionately and unrelentingly to get rid of the disease of racism. If I would seek to give you a blueprint for our freedom in Birmingham tonight, I would say first that at this moment we must decide that we will no longer spend our money in businesses that discriminate against Negroes.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. And I'm walking down that freedom, talking down that freedom, walking down that freedom road. Ain't gonna let nobody step on me. Step on me.
We don't want to have to get in trouble with y'all. Y'all been pretty good so far. Y'all get back. Get one of them.
Two-way, just stand by there, wee wagon now.
Got that fine nigga stand out and we get through. Got nothing over Jim he can do.
Let's move back.
He's going to jail. You take 25. All right. Who is it want to talk to me? I throw away.
We did you.
Not you either.
We like you, boy. Can we talk to you?
No, I know. That's the thing. Somebody had something to ask me, and I was going to answer it now, but I couldn't do it then.
Bring that blind nigga over here. Let's go.
Let's move back here. Nice. Come down and get in trouble. You're trying to be nice to him. Get in and don't say that big thing like that over there.
Is that a free trainer coming, coming, coming? Is that
clergyman. While confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, I came across your recent statement calling my present activities unwise and untimely. Since I feel that you are men of genuine goodwill and that your criticisms are sincerely set forth, I want to try to answer your statement in what I hope will be patient and reasonable terms. You deplore the demonstrations taking place in Birmingham, but your statement, I'm sorry to say, fails to express a similar concern for the conditions that brought about the demonstrations. Birmingham is probably the most thoroughly segregated city in the United States. Its ugly record of brutality is widely known. There have been more unsolved bombings of Negro homes and churches in Birmingham than in any other city in the nation. These are the hard, brutal facts of the case. You may well ask, why direct action? Why sit-ins, marches, and so forth? Isn't negotiation a better path? Nonviolent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and foster such a tension that a community which has constantly refused to negotiate is forced to confront the issue. You speak of our activity in Birmingham as extreme. Was not Jesus an extremist for love? Love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. Will we be extremists for the preservation of injustice or for the extension of justice? When you have seen vicious mobs lynch your mothers and fathers at will and drown your sisters and brothers at whim, when you have seen hate-filled policemen curse, kick, and even kill your black brothers and sisters, when you see the vast majority of your 20 million Negro brothers smothering in an airtight cage of poverty in the midst of an affluent society, when you suddenly find your tongue twisted and your speech stammering as you seek to explain to your 6-year-old daughter why she can't go to the public amusement park and see her developing an unconscious bitterness toward white people, when you have to concoct an answer for a 5-year-old son who is asking, Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so mean? And you are humiliated day in and day out by nagging signs reading white and colored. And your first name becomes nigger. Your middle name becomes boy, however old you are. And your last name becomes John. And your wife and mother are never given the respected title Mrs. And you are harried by day and haunted by night by the fact that you are a Negro, living constantly at tiptoe stands, never quite knowing what to expect next, and are plagued with inner fears and outer resentments. And you are forever fighting a degrading and degenerating sense of nobodiness. Then you will understand why we find it difficult to wait. You assert that our actions, even though peaceful, must be condemned because they precipitate violence. Isn't this like condemning Jesus because his unique God consciousness and never ceasing devotion to God's will precipitated the evil act of crucifixion? I have no despair about the future. I have no fear about the outcome of our struggle in Birmingham, even if our motives are at present misunderstood. We will reach the goal of freedom in Birmingham and all over the nation because the goal of America is freedom, because the sacred heritage of our and the eternal will of the Almighty God are embodied in our echoing demand